All right, moving on to goal setting. So goal setting is the second topic that's covered in your textbook, and there's really a lot that I could say about this. In the interest of time for you guys and remembering that you can read a lot about this in your book, I'm going to try to keep it short. The first thing that's mentioned in your textbook is that there's a difference between long-term and short-term goals. There might be some recommendations about how much time a long-term goal is and how much time a short-term goal is, but the truth is that really you define that as the goal maker or goal writer or goal setter. So long-term goals are things that are probably going to take you some time to reach, and they usually feel bigger. Long-term goals can be things like build my own house. Obviously, one that's very valid for everyone in this class, earn a college degree. That's a long-term goal. Your short-term goals are either goals that kind of stand alone, that just take a shorter amount of time. Again, you define if it's a short-term goal. But short-term goals as kind of a goal system work nicely to be the steps that it takes to reach long-term goals. So if we go back to that college degree step and we've got a long-term goal to earn a degree in 4 years. Great, I'm going to earn a bachelor's degree in 4 years. That's a long-term goal. What are my short-term goals? And that's where we can start to break it down by semester. This semester, you probably have anywhere from 2 to 4 classes, maybe some of you even have 5, but this semester, your short-term goal that feeds into your long-term goal is to finish this semester successfully. You've got this group of classes on your plate, and College Success is one of those classes. So what are you going to do to make sure that you reach the short-term goal of passing your classes? It's a more immediate experience. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. After we have our short-term goals, we've got long-term goals, short-term goals, and then underneath that, we break our short-term goals down into tasks or steps that are doable action items. So this is important. This is where goal setting, where we often have a gap, because it's one thing to say that your short-term goal is to, earn a 3.5 GPA for the fall 2014 semester. That's fantastic. That's a great short-term goal. But if you want to get there, you have to be able to break down, how am I going to do that? What are the things the behaviors, the steps I need to do that are action items? And one of those action items is going to be go to class. Another one's going to be take my notes, review my notes before the next class, things like that. So this is where you get into the things that you're doing, things that go on a daily to-do list that accomplish those short-term goals and in turn will accomplish that long-term goal. So a lot of the habits and the things that we do on an everyday basis feed into our ability to accomplish our goals. One thing that happens in life, you'll know if this is true for you or not, sometimes we get big ideas or goals that we want to achieve, and then in the course of a day, we don't do anything at all to achieve those goals. We get distracted by other people asking us for help. We have other responsibilities that aren't really directly related to our goals that have to be taken care of. We have stuff that pops up. You can't control it if you come home on a Wednesday afternoon and your roommate fell down the stairs and broke her arm. And you're the only person there to help her. And she needs you to drive her to the hospital and all that jazz. And when that happens, your life can be it can feel like it's not your own anymore, or like your time isn't your own. So what we want to think about with goal setting is, yes, absolutely, things come up that we can't control, but we always have control of how we behave in a moment, and we always have control of whether or not we're going to make progress toward those goals. So motivation and goals and locus of control, which we'll talk about in a minute, they're all connected. What is it about your goals that makes them things that you want to do? If your goal is to have a 3.5 GPA for this semester, how are you going to connect with that on a daily basis to guide your behavior to reach that goal? What's going to remind you on a consistent basis that it's important? Because things are going to pop up. The alarms are going to go off on your phone that tell you that someone's messaging you on Facebook while you're trying to study for your math test. Your favorite movie is going to come on USA or something like that, and really, how many times do we all need to see National Treasure? It's a great movie, but you know what I mean, the ones that come on over and over. Anyway, when we have little interruptions that come up in a moment that we let take us away, we give them our energy, and then when we come back to our goal, we're sometimes confused or we have a hard time getting back on track. It takes a while to kind of settle back in. When you go on a trip, and it doesn't seem to matter how long the trip is, but you pack a bag and you go out of town, and then you come home from being out of town, you have to kind of settle in. You got to unpack your stuff, put your toothbrush back where it goes, do a load of laundry, maybe several loads of laundry, and just that settling in can take several hours or even a whole day if you were gone for a long time. But when you've got stuff on your plate that stacks up, like textbooks to read, assignments to turn in, work that needs to be done, discussion boards to post to, those kinds of things can be really distracting from your goals. So your job as a college success student is to figure out, what are my goals? What am I here for? What am I doing here? Why am I taking this class? Why am I taking any class? You know, if you're sitting through an astronomy class and you don't like to look at the night sky and you get cricks in your neck or whatever, what was the motivation for you to take that course? Why did you choose that one? And for any of you, if you came to my office tomorrow and you sat down and told me your schedule, and I looked at you and I said, why did you take that class? The answer should be that it's a step to satisfy a long-term goal. It's something, or it could be something that you really, really love. But, we take anatomy and physiology because we want to be nurses or biology majors. Most of us are not going to take anatomy and physiology just for the heck of it or just for our science credit. See where I'm going with this? So think about what it is, why you're doing what you're doing. Try to find some system or reminder that you can use on a regular basis to keep you focused. And remember that unless we actually pay attention to our goals every day, we're not going to get very far with them. So the way to pay attention to your goals, there's lots of ways you can do this in 2014. The good old-fashioned way is to write them down and hang them up somewhere. And when you have them written down somewhere as you're planning out your week or planning out your day and you're making your to-do list or your schedule, you connect the goals to the to-do list. If your goal is to have a 3.5 GPA this semester, what am I doing today, Thursday, to make sure that I get a 3.5 GPA this semester? And then the next day, what am I going to do on Friday to make sure I get a 3.5 GPA this semester? So there's always that thought, that awareness, that connection. All right, I hope that this has made sense. I'm going to move on to locus of control, which is my favorite college success topic. Okay.